Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx.com. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. Check us out. And today is double office hours. Ask me anything. I do it twice a day to try to accommodate more time zones. Yeah, it's Christmas week and many of you have already checked out, but I figured I would check in and see if anybody had any questions that they wanted me to answer. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat rooms. I'm monitoring YouTube, LinkedIn, and tweets. And I'll be doing this again in about 8.5 hours at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, where we do have 2 questions. I think they were for the late in the day one. So we've technically have no questions for this morning's show, but I do it to accommodate the time zones near me and east of me. So I will hang around a few minutes. If there are no questions, we will shut the show down and try again later today. But if anybody has any questions, of course, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything, and I'm happy to take your questions on any topic. Also, if you have any questions about the show, the answers are usually here, deltacx.com/links. So how can you sign up for my Axure courses? How can you enter the giveaway? How can you ask a question? How can you join our Slack channel? Good morning, Sanju, or good afternoon, depending upon where you are. So any questions you might have about the show are here on deltacx.com/links. If you want to ask a question anonymously, please use deltacx.link/ask. I know my video is a little fuzzy today. I didn't turn on all of my lights. I was enjoying the natural sunlight coming through the windows, so that means my green screen isn't totally green screening. You're just going to have to run with it. So I'm going to set a timer. If we don't have any questions coming in over the next 5 minutes, we'll just wind the show down. But if there are questions, of course, I'm happy to take them. Miguel. Oh, those questions were mine for the afternoon, but you're not going to be time. Do them now. Okay, hold on. Let me open them up. Thank you, Miguel. Hold on. Open. I keep them in separate files so I can tell the difference between my early questions and my late questions. So let me move them over to now. Thank you so much for joining. Are you in Brazil? Shouldn't you be sleeping? Where are you? You had a Brazil-looking name. Maybe you're in Portugal. All right, so let's go through the 2 anonymous questions we got from our viewer. Let me put them up on the screen in our new question format, and that way we can all see them at the same time. Okay. And I'm glad you're here. That way, if I have a follow-up question, we can have a conversation, which I always prefer. Okay, so the question was, what UX software, except Axure, would you recommend for creating good wireframes and quick prototypes to test with users? People have recommended Overflow, but it's paid, and Whimsical, but it's free. I just don't want to use Figma to do that type of work. From sunny and poor Portugal. No, Portugal I hear is absolutely lovely. I'm here in Italy. We are neighbors. Come drop by and I'll answer your questions. Okay, so Miguel, if I can pronounce you Spanishly, you probably know what I'm going to say. I am all Axure, and I don't recommend pretty much anything else right now. Now, I do know that Axure is expensive, and I do know that that's prohibitive for some people. The cheaper version of Axure, I think, I only know American dollars, but I guess it's probably 20 euros a month. Now, I like to say, how many hours of work does it save you to use a better tool? How much are you paid per hour? If this saves you 2 hours of work in a month, did it pay for itself? You know, to me it does, but I know that for some people, 20 euros a month is a scary number, especially in a pandemic or when you're between jobs or whatever. So I know that Axure's pricing isn't great for a lot of people, and I don't love what they're doing price-wise, but to me, there's no better thing for prototyping. If you just want wireframing, you can use anything. You can use PowerPoint. I've seen people use Microsoft Excel. If you want something free for wireframing, you can pick absolutely anything. Seriously, anything. I've seen PowerPoint done. But when it comes to prototyping, when you tell me you want good wireframes and quick prototypes, I still want those quick prototypes to be good. Because to me, if you build a prototype that is non-realistic, and by realistic, I don't mean beautiful design. I don't mean the realism of the visual design. If you don't have a prototype that allows people to realistically move through the interactions with realistic interactivity, then what do you have, and what are we usability testing? Now, I'll tell you a secret, which no one else knows but you, but I am reshooting all of my Axure videos right now, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year, I will have them edited and ready to go, and I will have a new series of Axure 10 videos that I'm going to put on YouTube for free. So if you are Axure curious, they do have a 30-day trial. You can learn it relatively quickly through my videos, which are coming soon. I've only recorded half of them, so this is an end-of-the-year project that I hope will be done by the end of the year. Yep. I know. So I do recommend Axure. And again, I can't recommend anything else, because to me, if you want unrealistic prototypes, Figma your heart out. But if you want realistically interactive prototypes, I don't know anything better than Axure, and I apologize for what it costs, but I try to see things as a cost-benefit analysis, like how much time did that save me because I was able to use a better tool? How much mistakes or redoing my work did it save me because I was able to use a better tool and do better designs and better testing? So ask me a follow-up question if you have one, because we're both here live. It's the Debbie and Miguel show, but and this is office hours. Everybody can ask questions either anonymously or through the chats in YouTube and LinkedIn and tweets. But sorry, but I only love Axure, and that is not sponsored. They don't pay me. I pay them. I pay them the 40-something euros a month for the team version. You can probably get away with the pro version, but I would be investing in Axure. If you haven't done the free trial, jump on the free trial and all that. Hi, hello to our Australian friends. Good evening, well, something good something. So welcome. I only need to practice. Maybe it's better to use the free trial and practice in that period. Yeah, and I would say if you can wait a couple of weeks, then my completely secret new videos will be out, and you can practice along with my videos, because the videos are designed to work while I work. So you're working along with me as I teach you. That would be my advice. I am still recording these videos and hope to have them ready. And that way you can take that 30-day trial and use it a little bit better. Or otherwise, you can always go month to month. You can pay for 1 month of Axure and then cancel it. You know, these are all options. So thank you for that question. Now let's go take a look at the second anonymous question that I got. Wink, wink. All right, I'm probably going to have to drop the font size on this. This was a little bit longer. Here we go. Second question, and this is the only other question I have, everybody. So if you don't ask another question, this show is going to end early. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to answer them live. Okay, the question says, how many weeks would you recommend spending learning the several stages of UX design, like research, usability testing, flows, wireframes, etc.? Are there any bootcamps out there that offer this the right amount of time, or would it be better to have some sort of progressive learning where you start with a small project and after build larger projects with more research, more testing, etc.? Okay, so this is a very complicated question, not in the way you asked it, but in the reality of the answer. So unfortunately, right now, in my opinion, others disagree with me, there is basically no bootcamp that I recommend. There is no college course that I recommend. There's almost no university courses that I recommend. So when you ask how many weeks does it take to learn this, what I hear is, good morning, Charlene. What I hear is, what's the fastest I can learn this to try to get a job? But here's the problem with that. Even if I had a course for you where you could learn everything you ever needed to know about UX in 10 minutes and it magically all became absorbed into your body, Most jobs are asking for 1 or 2 years of real work experience before they will give you your first job. So even if we improve education, and I'll be working in 2022, I plan to release my new education concept model. Even if we come up with better education, I still don't see how we have a bridge from the education to the job. It's not clear right now. It's not obvious and it's not guaranteed. It's not like, well, if you take this online course and you read this book and you try a little project, you're going to get a job. You're not even guaranteed to get a little project, because if you think about it, whenever you've thought about hiring a freelancer or an independent worker of some sort, you typically imagine someone who's quite experienced. If you wanted to hire an individual to come fix something in your kitchen, you probably wouldn't hire the junior kitchen person who's still learning and still guessing. And so you have to remember that while a lot of people are sending out the messages that if UX people want to get into this, you just have to find projects and freelance and offer it for free and whatever. And I say, I don't believe that's the way to go. Because I think that the people who have suggested that have not really done any critical thinking around that. They're not realizing that these jobs don't exist or rarely exist. And then who wants to hire you as a freelancer when you have no experience and you're guessing and you're trying to use this person's real project, possibly a paid project, possibly a project for a charity. Hey, just because a project is free doesn't mean people expect mediocre guessed work. They expect really good work. And a lot of these projects that people pick up aren't even UX projects. If you're just helping people redo some of their web pages and no users are involved, no research, no testing, this isn't a UX project. This is web design. So be careful of all of these messages out there that say, just do some learning for X number of weeks, then find some projects, and wow, you're going to get a job. That's not the way UX looks at all right now. And so in that, I'm asking people to take a step back and make sure that UX is for them. Because right now, UX is incredibly hard to get into. And if you're getting into it because it looks fun, newsflash, it's not fun. If you're getting into it because it looks like it's going to make a lot of money, newsflash, some companies are lowering salaries. If you're getting into it because you think it's going to be a stable job, newsflash, we're usually the first people to be fired when times are hard. So I want to make sure that the people getting into UX have UX running through their blood and there's no way to turn it off. And even if it's the worst job and hard to get into, you are driven to do it. Because if that's not the case, I would respectfully say, pick what's right for you. See episode 78 in our live stream podcast playlist about finding your life purpose. For some of us, it's UX and things related to UX. And for other people, UX seemed like a cool, fun, creative thing that I could learn quickly and transition into. Unfortunately, it's not. Right now, most jobs suck. Most jobs are, in some cases, abusive to us. We fight with our coworkers many days. It's not a sticky note extravaganza, etc. Miguel says, I honestly just want to learn more, but I'm not a fan. I prefer UI and web design, more visual, just trying to get fundamentals and best practices. Okay, so for really the fundamentals of UX are psychology, cognitive psychology and human behavior. Any classes you can take or books you can read about psychology and human behavior will probably help you more than any boot camp or any course claiming to be about UX. Because a lot of the courses that claim to be about UX tell you to just do design thinking, which isn't UX. If it were UX, we would call it UX and it would be different, but it's not. I think if you love UI and you love web design, immerse yourself in that and stay with that and don't necessarily try to become a researcher. Michelle Ronson, who we have on the show quite frequently, and we'll see her twice in January, she says that it takes 3 years to get good at UX research. So remember, we're talking about the whole arc of learning something, but learning it well enough to do it well. That's why I bring out my model of phases of proficiency. If you say, hey, I use Figma, I say that's a building block. I have no idea if you're using Figma well. I have no idea if you're doing good interaction design, good web design, good UX design. You're just using a tool, but that doesn't mean you're using the tool well or in the right situations. Then we've got doing this work with science and technique. Now you're cooking with gas. Now we're talking about, are you using principles of cognitive psychology and human behavior? Are you using best practices? Are you using all the things that we learn to do this stuff? And are you doing those things well? And then eventually you've got strategy. So I would say it's hard to learn just a little, quotes, about UX, because UX is a tremendous discipline with a number of subspecialties, and each one of them can take years to be good at. And so it's hard to say, yeah, I do a little research. You know, it's not like those cool guys on 1970s TV shows who are like, yeah, I play a little guitar. You know, that you can't just be like, I do a little research. There is so much to understand about planning research, recruiting for research, doing the research, analyzing the research. I recently wrote a Medium article in response to someone else's Medium article, and their article was like, how to write better questions for UX research. And I thought almost all of their better questions were terrible. So there's so much crap out there. And the problem is, if you just follow what some of these articles say, you might still be doing the wrong things. And so the problem with learning UX is that you're supposed to be learning scientific disciplines in deep ways with complexity and science and technique. So I don't have a shortcut for anything there. And I think that if you know that the UI and web design and other things are more in your heart, do the things that you love. You know, I hate UI. I don't hate UI. I hate doing it. I'm a terrible artist. I'm so happy that there's people like you who will partner with me and do it. So I don't have great news about easy, fast ways to learn UX, because to me, the answer to how many weeks should you spend learning UX, to me, the answer is probably 104. It's probably 2 years. That's probably the amount of time I would like to see people learning and practicing before they try to get a job or do real work, because then you're going to know stuff, you're going to have practiced, hopefully you have a mentor or coach who gave you tough love and said, you're not doing this right, let's do better. And now you're going to have some junior level of proficiency. So sorry for the bad news, but that is my opinion on that. And let me know if you have follow-up questions. And let's get Janani's question up. Thank you for your patience. And Charlene says it's not easy and fast way to learn UI as well. True. Yeah, a lot of people say to me, Deb, you're a terrible artist. Just learn. Just work on learning. And it's like, where do I even start? I mean, and I'm bad at it, and I don't want to do it. So how about that? Yeah, sorry, Miguel. Sorry, it's not great news. But it's the news I'm giving everybody, at least as of when this is recorded. Okay, what are the indicators that a UXer is now ready to move from an individual contributor to a people manager? Super question. We haven't had this before, so it's a really great question. And I think that that's a combination of things that mostly come from you. So number one is, do you want to be a people manager? I've noticed that some people in UX do want to continue growing and being promoted, but some want to become people managers, and some would rather be team leads and technical leads or design leads, but never really a people manager. So if you know that you want to be a people manager, oh, I should probably keep that up. Oh yeah, Miguel says, Charlene, a lot of junior people, they can do 100 daily UIs and become an expert. Yeah, sadly true. And we get this with UX as well. Let me put the question back up and keep it up. So I think the question is, do you have opportunities in your current job to start to transition into some of the things that a manager would do? For example, are you mentoring more junior people? Are you reviewing their work and giving them that tough love and helpful, constructive critiques? Are you coordinating projects? You know, are you being a team lead and overseeing projects, coordinating projects, maybe estimating projects? Are you supporting people in other ways? Do people come to you when there's a problem or a concern, or they're fighting with the product manager? Are you someone who's got good advice for that and can help them resolve that conflict? To me, these are some of the things that people managers do. So obviously, when you think about management, you've got strategy, you've got operations, and you've got, you know, the work. So are there things that you're doing strategically for a team or for the department? Have you been improving any of the processes by which people do their work? So are you introducing better tools or better way to use tools? Are you helping people be more organized? Are you helping people with time management? Are you coordinating projects better? I know I've said some of these already. I'm still waking up and I'm a little hungry. I would say that you're probably ready to move to people manager when you've tried some smaller, medium ways to do this at an existing job or in your own business or something like that. And hopefully it seems to be going well, and maybe you're getting good feedback from the people you manage. I do like to check in a lot with the people I manage and say, hey, just checking in, anything that I did that was bothersome to you or negative, anything I can do better, I want to know. So always check in with anybody that you're managing and see where you can improve. Some people are nervous to say that. If you know you have a flaw, you can always bring that up and say, hey, I know I'm not always as supportive as I could be. Sometimes I'm a little rushed and I just have so much on my plate. I wish I were more supportive to you. Can you think of other things I could do better? You know, help them feel comfortable telling you this stuff. But I think shifting to people manager would be great. But remember that you've got line manager, which is a people manager, and then you've got manager, you know, who would be probably expected to do more strategic and operational things for a team or a department. So that to me is the difference. If you are just a line manager, then you're a people manager. But to me, a people manager should still be reviewing work, helping people with their conflicts, maybe helping them improve presentations or what we typically call soft skills, even though there's nothing soft about them. Typically, work reviews, I think I said, formalizing processes, improving techniques and efficiency, things like that. Am I helping? Am I going in the right direction? I'm not even sure now. That's what I would say. Ah, delicious. Weird emails coming in. So that's what I would say to that. Janani, tell me if I'm going in the right direction with your question. And of course, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. So if you have any questions, please post them. You can put them in the YouTube or LinkedIn chat. If there's something about your current job that you don't want your name yelled out, you can ask them at deltacx.link/ask. That'll come into my email and I'll put the question up on the screen. So of course, don't name names, etc. I'm getting LinkedIn messages from the always fantastic Joel Barr. Hey, very helpful. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks. I'm glad it was helpful. And I have a question for Joel Barr, but I'm not going to type it now because I'm live on YouTube trying to help all y'all. So welcome. Please subscribe. Please tell friends about the channel. I'm looking to grow the channel a lot in the coming year. And the way that happens is you tell people this is a cool place to be. So please let them know because that's how I'm going to do it organically. I'm not going to pay for followers. I can name a few channels that look like they paid for followers, but let's do it the right way. I'm so organic today, I didn't even put on any concealer. So there you go, completely organic. This is rolling out of the shower with wet hair, jumping on YouTube. At some point, my hair will dry. You can join me for the show later today, 6:30 p.m. Italy time, where my hair will be dry. Hi, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Do you have a question? If you have a question, I would love to answer it. There are no stupid questions. There are no newbie questions that I won't take. All questions are welcome, and please just write them in. And if you don't have a question, tell me what you're going to do this week. Tell me how your week is going. Some people celebrate Christmas, some do not. I do not celebrate Christmas because I am non-religious, so I celebrate nothing. I will be working straight through for you. Good morning, Aftab. Yeah, I'll be here later today as well. How are you doing? So yeah, or people starting to get time off work. Hopefully work is giving people some end of the year breaks and people are sleeping in and breathing and eating more protein and less carbs. That's my suggestion. Oh, and did you catch last night's show? We had the extremely fabulous Debbie's boyfriend here teaching everybody how to make their portfolio in WordPress. That's archived in the micro lessons, so you can check that out. And he will be here next Tuesday joining me for Office Hours Ask Me Anything for the comedy. Good morning, Yazir. Good morning, Glenn. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I forgot Glenn's on my time zone or a little bit 1 hour later. Glenn, South Africa, right? My friend in South Africa said it's going to be 32 today, so please stay frosty. Good morning, peoples. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of questions today. I know more people come to the later office hours that I do at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. So for now, it's just us. And so I'm happy to take questions or any conversation you want to open. You know, YouTube is generally about 30 seconds behind my live broadcast. So it feels almost like a conversation. So feel free to ask anything. And I'm going to just check. Okay, you've got 25 degrees. Yeah, it's heating up. Okay, nothing cooking on LinkedIn, just checking. And nothing cooking in the anonymous questions, just checking. And again, I'll be back later today doing this again. And then we're going to take a week off of the show because I know a lot of people get distracted with travels and holidays. And then we'll be back next Tuesday. So our next show after later office hours will be next Tuesday. How is UX in Italy maturity-wise? I actually get asked that a lot. Oh, 32 degrees in Sydney. Yow! Summer. True summer. Glenn, I'll add that to the questions list. And I do get asked this one a lot. And the answer is it's pretty low. Italy is not as strong a country for technology as other countries in Europe. Sujesh says, since you've called it out explicitly, I'm going to spread the word. Well, thank you. And Sujesh, don't you owe me something you were inspired by? You're supposed to be inspired and do something great, so I still want to know what that is. But thank you. Please do tell people about the channel. It's the main thing I ask for. And someone last night said, what is this little cup? I forgot to say that is the tip jar. Tipping is optional, but the cup is there in case somebody tips. UX in Italy is low maturity. There are a few agencies, mostly Italian offices of American agencies or British agencies, and there are big companies here, IBM, Nestle, but I find in general that the UX maturity is still quite low. Italy is not a tech universe. It's still very much a fashion, art, food, wine universe. And there is some tech, mostly in Rome and Milan, but in general, not a lot of tech jobs. It's a great country for science. It's a great country for art, humanities, archaeology, like everyone's an archaeologist. Where I live, I feel like almost everybody is, I guess, what we call in English a surveyor. That's a hot job. Building engineers, surveyors, hot jobs. Especially every time somebody goes to dig anywhere, you find stuff from the Bronze Age. So not the biggest country for tech. If you're interested in European cities that are hotter for tech, you are looking in no particular order at Oslo, Berlin, London, Barcelona, Vienna. These are much hotter tech cities than anywhere in Italy. So Italy has some tech jobs, but not a lot. And I find even some of the companies doing UX here are trying to do design thinking. They don't totally get UX. Okay, Miguel says, not a question, but Dribble just launched a product design 12-week bootcamp and it's terrible. Yeah, Miguel, we're on it. On our next reaction stream, someone sent that one in and I will be burning it to the ground. But yeah, it looks pretty terrible. So let's see. Manho Wang, hello, welcome, says, I have a simple question. How do you train or reinforce specific techniques when you're learning from UX books as a newbie? Super question. Wow, I love this. What a wonderful question. And I don't remember seeing your name before, so you might be new here. Welcome to the show. Please subscribe. I would say the best answer for that is you need to practice on real or fake projects, but I suggest having a mentor or coach. Not a mentor that you check in with once a month and they go, yay, I'm so proud of you, you're doing things. You know, not that. But the type of mentor or coach who has years of UX experience and can look at your work and say, okay, now you're trying to apply the knowledge and techniques that you've learned. Okay, it looks like you didn't totally get this technique. Or, hey, you're halfway there. Why don't you try this? Or tell me more about why you did this. Let's look at why. So I'm talking about a real coach, like the way you get coached when you're taking sports lessons or music lessons. Someone who really pays attention to what you're doing and tries to help you improve, not just a cheerleader who goes, oh, you made a persona. That's wonderful. There are a lot of bad personas out there. So you want that mentor or coach. Some people offer that for free. Some people offer that for paid. I do offer it for paid. And so I offer people 15 minutes free if they want to just chat with me. But then when I review work, I do charge. I'm charging 50 American dollars for a half hour. If people are curious about that, you can follow deltacx.com/links to my coaching signups. But, you know, totally optional. You can find any mentor or coach who knows what they're doing could be good for you. And the way that you can know this is, number one, look at their LinkedIn. If their LinkedIn is full of not UX stuff, they might not be right for you. If their LinkedIn, not their UX, if their LinkedIn is full of UI designer, front-end developer, design manager, creative director, if you're not seeing the stuff that you're trying to get better at, specifically UX, qualitative research done for years, then to me, they're probably not the right mentor or coach. And by years, I mean 5 or more. If they have not done extensive information architecture and interaction design for at least 5 years, they're probably not the right coach. Somebody with fewer than 5 years can certainly speak to you about transitioning into UX, getting your first job, things that they were surprised by when they started working in UX, things they still had to learn, but they might not have enough experience to really be able to check your work. So how about that? I hope that helps. And somebody from LinkedIn is saying, hi, but my system is not showing me your name. It just says LinkedIn user. So let's see if I can jump into LinkedIn and see who it is. So I can say a friendly hi back by name. Let's see. It is Mohammed. Hello. Okay, so let's take a look at our next question. We've got a few in the room now. We've got Oscar and Yasir. So let's put these questions on the list and put them up on the screen and answer them. And remember that I do office hours every Tuesday, typically at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, but once a month I do this early one. So you can always check our calendar, which is linked from the links page, to see when the shows are. There is a schedule. Okay, Oscar says, hi, Debbie. Hello, Oscar. I'm the only UX designer on a large development team. The thing is, I usually try to bring insights of our users to the team, but it's very hard. They see things from the user's perspective. Tips. Yes, I've got tips. Super question and very common problem. Super, super common. There are a couple of things that you can try. But first of all, let me make sure you know that if you cannot change this team, it is not your fault. When people really don't want to change, we can't change them. That person you wish would stop smoking, we can't make them stop smoking. That person you wish would take better care of themselves because the doctor said their health could be in trouble, that's up to them. So remember, if you can't change somebody else, please don't blame yourself. There's only so much we can do, but we can certainly try. And I like that you're going to at least try. So I think that when we want to see if people are understanding things from the user's perspective, we have to show them the user's perspective. We can't talk about the user's perspective generally, and we can't guess at the user's perspective. You know, it's great if you say, I don't know, I think this might not be intuitive for our users. You might be right, but that just sounds like an opinion, and they might say, no, it's going to be fine, we're doing it. So how can we show them the user's perspective? If you have time to do any UX research or testing at all, record it. If it's Zoom, record it. Everything you do, record it, record it, record it. If you need help asking good questions, let me know. Ultimately, you want to show them videos, video clips of people using the stuff to show, hey, remember when I was concerned that this wasn't going to be really clear and intuitive to people? Here's a video clip montage where I've put together 5 users that I met, and these are all potential customers or they're our current customers, and watch how they get confused here. And all I've asked them to do was just try this or do a certain task. You know, you need to sign up. You need to enter in these times. You need to pay this person. I just gave them a task and this is what they did. And you end up with these recordings of people going, should I click this? What do I do now? Oh, I thought I was supposed to do this. Oh, I'm not too sure what to do here. Or you have them clicking the wrong things and everyone's yelling, no, don't click that, you know, like a horror movie audience. So I think that one of the best ways to make sure other people are seeing the user's perspective is to show them the user's perspective through having them sit in quietly on research sessions where they're not allowed to turn on their cameras or talk, or if you think they can't control themselves or they don't have time for that, you show them video clips. And typically the video clips tell the story. And I try to do video clip montages for my clients. So if I have 10 hours of video, I might put together a 5-minute clip of here's 5 minutes of people struggling with this task in our system. And then sometimes people go, oh, well, you just pick dumb people. And I go, well, what happens if you're wrong? What happens if these aren't dumb people? What happens if these are representative of our users? What happens if all of our users are dumb? What if our users are as dumb as this person? This is the representative group that I found to research with. That means this group is supposed to represent our users. It's not just one weirdo. This is 5 people, 8 people, 10 people. So look out for the things people are going to say that's going to make it seem like, well, these people are just dumb. And that's why if you can contrast it with a video clip montage of things going well for people, that can also help balance it. Here's a 3-minute video clip montage of people who liked this new feature. Not that they liked it, but they got their task accomplished efficiently. They didn't have questions. It was intuitive. It just worked. It was great for them. They sailed right through it, and it's a success. Now here's a video clip montage of the same people struggling with this other thing. That can help a little bit where they go, oh, well, they're just stupid. Well, they weren't stupid in the first video when they got it right. So, you know, you have to kind of predict what are some of the things that your teammates tend to say to cut away at things and set up disbelief, and you just have to attack those. So those would be my suggestions. Having people observe these sessions without their cameras or microphones on where the participants can't see or interact with them, or having them watch full videos or video clips later. I hope that helps. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. All right, we've got Yasir's question. Here we go. Is it good to be in that project where you see you have to do all your own, like research, design, copy, analytics? If I'm understanding this question correctly, are you saying, is it good to be the only person, the only UX person on a project where you will be responsible for the research, you'll be responsible for the copy, you'll be responsible for the design? Are you saying, is that a good thing or a bad thing, Yasir? You're welcome, Oscar. I hope that helps. Give it a try. And if you have any other questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn, or we do have a free Slack workspace for fans of the show. You can join there. The link is on the links page, deltacx.com/links. Alrighty, so oops, wrong buttons. Okay, so back to Yasir's question. He says yes. Okay, so it looks like the question is it good to be the only person? Okay, so there's pros and cons. To me, one of the pros is if you're great at all of these things, then you're doing all of these things the way you want to see them done. There is nothing lost between research and design. It's not like, ooh, I forgot to tell you that I learned this thing. You know, you were there, you learned it. Now you're taking that into design and other steps of the process. So it can be good for one person to do all of those things, but here's some of the downsides. I don't normally recommend that if there's something there that you're not good at. If you are not yet a strong researcher, but you're a strong designer, I kind of don't want you to do the research. Anything that we're not doing well could set our project up for trouble or failure. If you are not a great copywriter, no offense, I don't want you to do it. I think of myself as a pretty good writer, and I don't want to usually do the copy or the content strategy on a website because I know there's people who are better at that writing style than I am. So I would say one downside is, are you really that great at everything? You might not be. And so let's partner with the people who are better at that stuff. So sometimes I do the research on projects and sometimes I'm partnered with a researcher and I'm just the designer, and there's nothing wrong with that. Another concern that I have about trying to be the jack of all unicorns, as I like to say, is especially in a corporate or work environment. Now, if you're a freelancer and you're going, hey, I'm going to do all the things, how long is that going to take you? Very often, my research projects take 1 or 2 months. Then the design could take 1 or 2 months. Does your client, if you're a freelancer, have time for a 4-month project? Now, if you are working in more of a corporate environment, if you ask for 4 months to do something, you know that someone's going to say, you're not agile, you're not lean, you're not working efficiently. So our workplaces aren't really going to welcome that. It's strange. They put only one UX person on a project. They don't give us enough time, and then they bark at us that we're not agile enough. Hey, give me 5 UX people on a project and we will be fantastically agile. So I think that it can be good to have a dedicated researcher and a dedicated designer who are collaborating, but who are able to work on different things at the same time. So while the researcher is working on this, maybe you're working on something else, and then you take the researcher's information and you're working on this, and they're working on research for the next thing, or they're helping you with testing, or they're, something like that, where you've got these 2 tracks. Now, you'll also see that in Tri-Track Agile. And Tri-Track Agile shows that researchers are on one track doing their things. Once in a while, they are feeding designers. Designers are on their own track doing things. And then once in a while, designers are feeding engineering. So once our work reaches certain milestones, we can give that work to engineering, put it in the backlog, and they can build it. So I think that the downside to the single designer and researcher and copy person is usually time and efficiency. Some freelance projects are happy to wait for one very talented person to do all the things, but many companies and projects are looking for these things to happen much faster and much more efficiently. They don't want to see the 4-month project, they want to see the 2-month project, and that would probably mean partnering up with someone else. So I would say your main obstacles here are going to be time and are going to be proficiency. Wrong screens. Oh no, I switched my screens. Now you all see the sausage being made, which I've done before. So I would say be careful. If you are still in the building blocks phase of research and you're not asking the right questions and you're not interpreting research that well, which it's hard for you to know, you'd need a coach to see some of what you're doing and tell you. But if you are still in these low levels of proficiency, then I would say partner with someone who's better. Not only will that help the work go more efficiently, but now you have someone you can learn from. So I hope that helps. Glenn says, sounds like a typical take-home assignment. I know it does. It sounds like a ridiculous job interview thing. And yeah, do all the things and do them in 2 hours. Unreasonable. Just say no. Start saying no, everybody. So thanks for these great questions. I'm here up to another 15 minutes. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them. You can ask them through the chat. You can ask them anonymously through deltacx.link/ask. We've got fuzzy backgrounds today because I didn't turn on all of my lights. I was enjoying the natural sun coming through the window and thought I wouldn't even need concealer, but I've got dark circles, let's face it. So these are some of what's going on here. Remember that after this evening's office hours show, we're going to take a break for a week so that everybody can enjoy their holidays. And we'll be back next Tuesday with office hours with special guest, my boyfriend, taking your questions as well, which we do once a year. And he's funny and people like him. So, and he's different than I am. So it's a nice break. Also, we're celebrating 3,000 subscribers. So I also have my boyfriend on as a celebration of that. So please tell more people about the channel. Glenn says, what would your ideal UX gig look like? I think I'm about to go into it. I think I'm about to start it. Let's put that question up. Now, that's, of course, very personal to me, and that changes over time. If you had asked me this 7 years ago, I probably would have said, oh, wow, I really wish I could work for Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, who is the Parks and Resorts wing of Disney. They mostly focus, as you might imagine, on parks and resorts, because I'm not into princesses and movies. I am into Disney's parks and their hotels, especially Florida. I am a gigantic, obsessed super fan, especially with the Florida parks and hotels. So to me, the dream job would have been to work at the parks and hotels. But then I thought about it, and I looked at some of the changes Disney was making to their parks and hotels, and some of it, like, you know, undoes things that I thought were great, undoes things that were so important and influential to my childhood. And then I go, am I sure I could work there? What if I had to be the person to undo that thing? You know, could I live with that? If my job is to undo that thing that changed my life, is that still my dream job? So you know me, I'm possible outcomes. I asked myself the possible outcomes of working for what I thought was my dream job, Disney Parks and Resorts. And then I thought, uh-oh, maybe it's not. So my dream job now is to be in an organization that is looking to make change, to improve their CX and UX, to do things in better ways internally for the company and externally for users and customers. And I got to do a little bit of that this summer with that South African agency named Immersion, though that was unfortunately short-lived. But I have accepted another job to do this again, and I will be starting January 5th, where I will be a high-level CX UX person being brought in as a change agent to a company some of you know, so I'm not yet saying who it is. I like to work somewhere a month and make sure I'm still there before I announce where I am. I have had a couple of jobs end before the first month was done, so I'm a little cautious about new jobs, but I am stupid excited about this one because it is a company that some of you will know. It has 1,000 people. It is headquartered in Europe. But some of you will know it and some of you will not. I didn't really know it, but when I asked friends, they're like, oh, I don't like them. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm being brought in as a change agent. I'm being brought in to fix and improve things. And if you don't like them, good, sort of, because then that means there's definitely things to change and improve, and I have the opportunity to work with a large and hopefully fantastic team and make this all better. So to me, right now, at this point in my career where I'm 20-something years in, I'm looking to be more of a leader and more of a change agent. I love doing the work, and I still do the work. Y'all know this. I'm on the show every Monday in Axure, drawing a timekeeping system, but I really, really right now want to be able to go into a company and make change and transform them towards customer centricity and improve internal and external processes and build a world-class UX team and put to practice all the things you hear me talking about. So I got to do that a little bit this summer, and it was really exciting, and I'm looking forward to doing that again. You know, I just want to put into practice all the things I'm telling everybody else to do. So how do we strengthen UX and create better jobs and better customer experiences and outcomes? So that's my ideal gig. My ideal gig is someone who wants me, knowing I am a change agent and knowing I'm going to push against some things and I'm going to disagree with things and I'm going to want to change things and I want the authority to make the change. That's the dream now. Disney Parks and Resorts still sounds neat, but I do get the feeling I would have to undo things that are very dear to me. Glenn says, sounds amazing. I hope so. I hope so. The people I've met so far through the interview process were 100% awesome, smart, fun, cool people that seem like they're great to work with. And so you say, I'm a super fan of the show. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being a super fan of the show. And I'm always happy to see you here. So we'll see, you know, I hope that will be a long-lasting job where I'll be able to come back to the show and say, I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it. These things that I've been telling you to do, I'm doing them, and this is what's working and this is what's not working. And, you know, I just might write a book about it. So that's mine. But the question is, Glenn, what is your dream gig? Everybody who's here now, put in the chat room, what is your ideal UX job? Or if you're Miguel, ideal UI job. What is your ideal job? What's the dream? Give everybody a minute to type that out. Just going to check if I'm missing any questions online. I don't see any questions online. Oh, Mano says, thank you. Bought your book already. Thank you. That is my old book. I'm working on a new one already. But thank you. I'm still happy with the old book. The old book's not bad. I've got it over here. It's very long. I had a lot to say. And some of it I've updated and I've put into the YouTube videos, but some of it I would still stand by and not change. There's a few things I've updated since then, because I did write it 2.5 years ago now. Wow, that seems so far away. Pre-pandemic, y'all. I was writing it in 2019, and I published it in September 2019. Now that seems so far away. Miguel says, dream project, maybe some freelance project where you get paid a lot and the client doesn't complain and demand changes. That, yes. And you know what? To me, part of that is saying no to the wrong clients. And part of that is setting yourself up as a consultant in the eyes of the client. If the client thinks you are just the guy who puts blue buttons on a screen and doesn't understand that you are a critical thinker, or problem finder or problem solver, then you end up being treated like order taker. Just put this here, put this over here. We wanted a checkbox. And so I think that, and this takes time and practice, and your picture makes you look a little on the young side. So there might be room for you to have more time and more practice. But I think it's very easy when you're starting out to accidentally end up that pair of hands, that order taker, you know, oh, you want bacon and eggs? Here's bacon and eggs. But when a client asks me for bacon and eggs, I say, you don't want bacon or eggs. Let's take a closer look at this. So I think that part of not being just change demand person is setting yourself up as the expert, as the consultant, as an idea person, and as someone who isn't just taking orders. And I think that just takes time and it takes personality, because you have to have a personality to say, nope, I had a client who I super love who a couple of weeks ago was like, why don't we just try what the competitors are doing? And I said, but we already did research with your customers and we found that they don't like what the competitor is doing either. So it doesn't make sense to just try to copy something from the competitor. The competitor's not doing a good job either. Let's not fall into that old trap. So, I could have said, oh, okay, sure, let's try it, see what happens. But that's not my style. Plus, luckily, we had research that said your clients don't like the competitors either. Let's see. Yasir says that book seems one of the block of chemistry. I think you mean my book. Yeah, it does look like the organic chemistry textbook I had in college. It is long. It is basically a textbook. Glenn says, I'd like to work in a remote first company who allows for flexibility and growth. Like Shopify seems to be a great looking company in the e-commerce space. Yeah, Shopify does look good and they always have a lot of open jobs. So I would definitely say keep applying. Maybe not constantly, give it a few months here and there, but yeah, definitely apply for those dream jobs. And also I advise people to reverse engineer jobs in that look at what Shopify is looking for, and then take a look at where you are in your career and work and say, okay, what do I need to learn or get better at to be the person Shopify wants to interview? Because sometimes people go, I love Shopify, I'm just going to apply. And then I look at the job description and I go, but you're not good at this and this. And they go, well, I was just going for it. You can go for it, but it's probably not going to go so well until you're more closely matching what these companies are asking for. So I say use these dream job listings as your goal, especially if you have a mentor or coach. Say, how do I get to this level? How do I get to the level where Shopify is going to look at my portfolio and go, we've got to interview Glenn. Look at Glenn's work. So that's a suggestion there. Glenn says, I would like my design decisions to have huge impacts in people's lives and not just bottom lines for the corporation, UX with great intentions. Okay, so that means you're probably under age 32. I find that people who are younger are talk to me more about having real impacts on people, and societies. I find that people who are older are like, just give me a job that isn't so awful and will stop abusing me. And people who seem to be younger are a little bit more dreamy and idealistic. Now, I'm not against that. I want you to be that way and I want you to stay that way. I don't want you to be old and jaded like I am, though you'll eventually be old. But if you're lucky. What I try to remind people is that sometimes we have born in the 70s, then you're my age. Get out of here. Okay, well, then you're just a dreamy idealist, and I love it. So I was born in 72, so I'll be turning 50 soon. So I think that when I'm not working on something where I feel like, oh my God, I've made huge impacts in people's lives, I still look at as making small impacts in people's lives. If I've made a shopping website easier to use, that's still a small impact in somebody's life or work, and I can feel good about that. So sometimes you have to find the small rewards. I can't point to a project I've ever done where I've said, yes, and I helped cure cancer, or I really made a huge impact in people's lives. I can't say that. I can say I made business and personal systems and sites better, easier, more efficient for people to use. So hopefully they ran into the 4 horsemen of bad UX less often. That's my registered trademark, R in a circle: frustration, confusion, disappointment, and distraction. And I just have to find the small rewards in knowing I made someone's day a little bit better. June 74. Okay. Yasir says, I'm 1995. You're a wee baby. Yeah, I'm 72. So I'm everybody's grandma. Miguel says, maybe another question. Oh, and then, well, first let's get to Manho. I'd like to work in a company with a long history of mature UX, learn great stuff, and go to other companies and help them grow and improve users' experiences. I love that. That sounds great. I can't wait for you to do that. This is a wonderful dream. I love it. The problem is I don't know a lot of companies with mature UX. So that's going to be the first problem in your plan, but I love the idea of it's a little bit about what I'm talking about, that I want to go into companies and improve companies' internal processes and external customer experiences. So you're right there with me, and I love it. And so Miguel has a question, maybe another question. Do you think okay, we've talked about this in the reaction stream, but we haven't talked about it much here. So let's talk about it here, and then we'll wrap up for the day, because I've been here an hour and usually these run an hour. Okay, so Miguel says, let's put it up on the screen, and this will be our last question for today, though comments are still welcome. Do you think mentorship and mentors should be paid, or free platforms like ADP List are good to get honest and regular personalized feedback? So I am not a big fan of ADP List, and that's mostly because I don't think everybody is A. A is supposed to be for awesome, and sometimes when I look at who is listed on ADP List, sometimes it's people with very little UX experience. Sometimes they're in their first year of work, sometimes their second year of work, and I don't understand why they think they're going to be able to mentor you on things that take people years to be good at. Remember, we said before that there's many things in UX that take you 3 years to be just good at, start to be good at. So if someone is in their first year in UX, they could mentor you on how did they get their first job. They did it. They could tell you how they did it. They could try to advise you a bit. But I'm always nervous about these people who are really early in their UX career, trying to tell people how to do task analysis, trying to tell people how to improve their observational research, trying to tell people stuff like that. I'm worried that these people don't have enough expertise to be the expert help that you need. So free is good. And I tell people, if you can get free, take free. Free is great. But at a certain point, free might not be what you need. So put your needs before free. Because in reality, when we want to learn things and do things right, they usually cost money. Music lessons cost money. Private sports lessons and coaches cost money. These things cost money, and we shouldn't only use or go to the things that are free. And it's going to be like anything else. There's going to be great free piano lessons, and there's going to be terrible free piano lessons. So be careful about just going for the things that are free. You might get some help, but if you think about the type of coaching that I'm suggesting for people who are still learning techniques and still getting the hang of it early in their career, I believe that people need 2 hours of help a week. Now, that's kind of a dream. I know that's hard for people to afford, especially with what I'm charging. In euros, that would be like 160 euros a week. Nobody's got that. I get it. But even if we could work together a half hour a week or something like that, imagine how much that could change what people are doing. And again, you don't have to work with me. You can work with anybody out there. There's lots of people, and again, some free, some paid. But I would say create a relationship with someone who's going to stick with your work the whole time through. Sometimes you can't get that on ADP List. You can't necessarily meet with the same people once a week or a certain frequency. They don't want to see the same people over and over. They want to give one moment of advice to different people. So I think you have to think about, what do I need? What do I need to learn to get better at this? And then pursue that. And if money is part of the question, then you have to come up with a budget and decide what you can afford. But I think that we shouldn't expect all education to be free. We shouldn't necessarily expect good education to be free. And we in some cases, we just have to budget for this. I'm just trying to let people know that don't expect it to be free to learn UX, and especially to get someone who's going to look at your work and give you constructive criticism and tough love. I'm worried that ADP List is mostly a cheerleading squad. I haven't heard too many stories of people going to ADP List and getting really critical feedback and tough love and, no, I don't think this work is where it should be. What about this? or, hey, your portfolio looks weak. You know, if I were your hiring manager, I think I would be turned off by this. I'm not hearing that. I'm sure it exists, but I'm worried that the ADP list is mostly cheerleaders. Hi, let's talk for half an hour. I'll give you some advice. I'll tell you you're doing great and keep going. That's what I'm worried about. So if you can find a high quality person charging little or nothing, fantastic. And if you can't, let's stop expecting all of this to be free. It just can't be. I try to give as much free help as I can here on the channel, in the Slack community, things like that. But eventually, if you want me to look at your work, I do charge for that time. And so do other people. So that would be that. So we're going to wrap up. I've run a few minutes late. Thanks to everybody for showing up today. I thought this was going to be quiet, but it was a fantastic crowd with good questions. I will be back in just hours doing this again. So if you are awake at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, which is 7.5 hours from now, I'm so sleepy. I got to get some food. So I will see, we'll do this all again, and we'll see what questions people have then, and then we'll take a week off. So thanks everybody. Be safe, double mask, isolate if you can, and see you in a few hours. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are